Hi guys, so today I have 7 books to do a review video on, and I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy. It's just crazy right now with everything that's going on, so I'm gonna get right into it. This is the Bookshop book. This is by Jen Campbell, and this is what it looks like. This book is about a woman who is talking about different bookshops around the world, and she talks about ones that she has worked in and stuff like that. It goes through from Europe to Oceania slash Australia, and it's a good book. I really liked it. It was a different kind of book to read that I'm used to, and like I said, it's basically like she goes around and she's talking about what these different bookshops have that make it unique, and if they're still there, and they have like some authors, not like really famous authors, but some authors who talk about their favorite bookstores, and if they had a bookstore, what would it be like. It was a really different type of book. I didn't think I was going to like it at first when I started reading it. I just thought it was going to be about one bookshop, and it was going to be like a story about this bookshop. And it also talks about how it dealt with when the Kindles came out, the e-readers, that kind of thing. This book is a mystery. It's a candle making mystery. It's called Death Waxed Over. It's by Tim Myers. This is what it looks like, and the one thing about this book that's really different from most of the mystery series books that I read is that the main character, the protagonist that helps solve the mysteries, is a man, which is weird because usually when I read these books, they're all women finding out who did what and stuff. So it takes place at this like craft kind of fair that their city has, and his arch enemy is there, and she ends up dying, and he has to figure out who did it because some woman who was there thought he was the one that did it. He was the prime suspect. So now a lot of people aren't trusting him, won't go to his store, that kind of thing. This book is called His Wyoming Baby Blessing. It's a Harlequin book. It's a love inspired book. It's by Jill Kemerer. Kemerer. I don't know how you say her last name. This is what it looks like. It's about this man who helps out one of his longtime friends. They both were in foster care together, and she was married to a different man. He died, and that's when she found out she was pregnant, and she goes on to tell him that their marriage wasn't that great. There was problems in it, and she thought that if she had a baby with him, it would make things better. And obviously, she didn't know if it did. He wanted to get a divorce from her because he was seeing other women, and she found out about it, but she stayed with him. And she finds out that her baby has a hole in his heart, and she has all these things that she's going through. And here, this guy she knew her whole life ends up helping her, gives her a little place to stay on his ranch, helps him like get through, like even though your baby it has a hole in his heart, you still have to plan his nursery, that kind of stuff. It's a cute little book. It was like it's kind of sad, and especially when they talk about their foster care situations, but it gets like maybe like the last couple chapters are good. It's just like a book that it's not like common the ones I read for them to be like really sad like that, but it was an okay book. This one was an okay book too. I didn't like it, but it was okay, if that makes any sense. This is called Murder in the Queen's Garden. It's an Elizabethan mystery. It's by Amanda Cormack. This is what it looks like. And I didn't like this book. It's an historical fiction kind of mystery because it's this woman who's the personal musician to Queen Elizabeth I. And here, this guy who creates horoscopes for different people ends up dying, and it's up to Kate to figure out who did it because she's related to the Boleyn family, which was Anne Boleyn was Henry VIII's second wife, also Queen Elizabeth's mother, and she's part of that somehow. I forget, but through her mother's family. And so she's really intent on finding out who it is. And it was just okay. It wasn't that great of a book. Like, I don't know. I just didn't really get into it. And I don't know if it's because my last book review video I did, there was a lot of like historical fiction books dealing with that kind of era in the royal family. I don't know. I just didn't like it. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy it. I don't know why. It was just okay. I don't know. This one was good. Now, the chapters in this book are kind of long. There's 310 pages and there's only 10 chapters in it. This is the first in the series. It's called Merlin Investigates the Excalibur Murders. It's by J.M.C. Blair. This is what it looks like. And what happened was, when I started reading this book, before that, I actually got like, after Black Friday was over, Walmart had a lot of DVDs left, and one was The Sword and the Stone, and that used to be like one of my favorite Disney movies ever. And if you had never seen it, I don't know if it's on Disney Plus, I don't know, but it's a really good and funny movie. And I kept picturing the Merlin that's in this book as the Merlin that was in that movie. And it's basically about these two men die at this celebration where King Arthur found this type of stone, the stone of Bran or something, and that's where these two men die. And here there's this big secret as to like who these two men really are. And then their mother ends up dying, and somebody else I think ends up dying too. And Merlin just is on the case. There's this person who is posing as a man, as a Merlin scholar, because he was supposed to marry King Arthur's sister, Morgan Le Fay, and he didn't, and so he ran away. Wait. I don't know, she was supposed to marry somebody from Morgan Le Fay's family or something, and she ended up not, so now she's disguised as a man, and she's Merlin's scholar. Some people know, some people don't. So it's a really good book. I really like it. The Raven is on there for a specific reason. You'll figure that out why when you read the book. But yeah, I would get these books again, but just keep in mind that the chapters are long because I don't know why, they just are. Now, this was a funny... excuse me. This was a funny type of book. This was called Enslaved by Ducks. It's by Bob Tarte. And this is what it looks like. It's about this man. It's actually his story with his wife. And here he ends up on this farm. And they end up with all these eccentric type of animals. It's every chapter is a different animal. He talks about they had a rabbit that was supposed to be like the most friendliest rabbit. The whole kind of species of this rabbit was supposed to be nice. And here they had like this crazy rabbit. There's ducks in it. There's doves. There's turkeys. There's like a lot of doves. There's all these different animals, and it's really funny because he's just like, I don't want to get any more animals. And then she says, no, we need one of these. And then they have to have female ducks because Bob doesn't want to have ducklings, and they have to have they get one of each different kind of species of duck that they can. It's just like, it just seems like it's like a really, really weird book. Like it's just like you could picture it in your mind. You're like, wow, this farm must be chaotic with all these animals on it. And there's parrots in there. There's parrots that one parrot can't be left alone, or it'll make bad, weird, loud noises. There's ones that attacked each other. Like, it was just a really crazy book. And some of the animals they actually leave inside of their house, which is another crazy thing. And it's just crazy. So this is the last book I have, and this is Go Set A Watchman. It's by Harper Lee. Now, one thing I want to tell you about this book was I did read To Kill a Mockingbird, and I love that book. And when this book, when Harper Lee said she was going to make a sequel to this, to Kill a Mockingbird, I was like, oh, okay, like, and I seen it up at Walmart when it came out, and I was like, I was at that point where I read a lot, and I mean a lot, of classic literature books, and I was like, do I really want to read this book now? What if I don't like it or understand it or whatever? So I ended up saying, if I find this book, because like when you buy a book and then you can find it at like not bookstore, like a book sale, or online, or something like that, it's cheaper, and then you don't feel so bad, because you just bought, well, this book might have been like $40 or $50 or whatever when it first came out, and then, oh, I could have bought that book at a book sale for only like half that or whatever. So I was like, if I ever find it at a book sale, I'll get it, because I'm like, I don't want to read any more literature books, but I did anyway with this one. And I don't know if I showed you guys what the book looked like. This is what it looks like. And it says, Every Man's Island, Jean, on the back. It says, Every Man's Island, Jean Louise, Every Man's Watchman is his own conscience. And basically this book takes place, I don't know, I'm going to say like 20 years after what happened in the Kill a Mockingbird book. And if you can't just read this book and then not read Kill a Mockingbird, because there are some characters in the book and some understandings that you need to know and To Kill a Mockingbird to read the sequel to this book. And Jean Louise comes back from New York because her father's been having some hard times. He has arthritis, and her boyfriend is the person who's taking care of him because her brother, something happened to him, so he's not in the picture. And she ends up finding out that her dad is part of this group that hates on specific type of people. I don't want to say much without giving a lot away, especially because some of the stuff in the book, the Kill a Mockingbird book, you have to know to read this book. And she couldn't believe it. She's like, you did that, blah, 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 and you don't feel that way. And she's trying to tell people, like her ideas and stuff like that. And her uncle's telling her, if you stay in this town, you'll find somebody who eventually sees it the way you do, and blah, blah, blah. And it was just a really good book. And there's different parts in it. There's a couple chapters in it. But it was a really good book. I think I liked it better than To Kill a Mockingbird, kind of. A little bit. Not like a lot more, just a little bit. But it was a really good book. And Go Set A Watchman is some kind of biblical saying. It's like part of a saying in the Bible, because the preacher, when she goes to church, talks about it. And she ends up, like, he talks about it and then he explains it. And she's trying to figure out what it means, and she's I don't know, but anyway, it was a really good book. I really liked it. It's not that long of a book, which is shocking, because this book was only like 200 some pages, and that was it. There wasn't, I mean, I think To Kill a Mockingbird had more pages in it. I don't know, because it was a long time since I read that book. But yeah, it was a good book. So if you haven't read it, or you don't, whatever, I highly suggest, read To Kill a Mockingbird and then read this if you can get your hands on it. If not, you could probably get it on like audio or something. So, or an audio book or whatever. But anyway, that's my books for this month. Maybe? Yeah, I think. For this week, I'll see you guys next time with another video. Please stay healthy. And I'll see you guys next time with another video.